everyone. We're gonna wait like one more minute as people trickle in. Um, I'm just curious, as we go through like this, how was like everyone's weekend? Like we're at what, week 8 now? So it's starting to kick up. I don't know if people are doing like early midterms or early um finals. Like how's everyone's schedule looking? I'm curious. You can use the chat or the Q&A feature. Usually I think you can use a chat. Got a midterm today. I got a midterm too. I have to study. um man, late midterms. Like I remember when I was in high school, I have like midterms every other week. And I'm like, no, that's crazy. But here I am in the UC system. Kind of crazy. I don't know if anyone can relate. I think we can start. I think it is 12:32. Nayeli, do you want to start right now, or do we want to wait one more minute?
I think we can get started. That's okay with Carissa.
Go for it.
Okay. Hi, everyone. Thank you for joining us this afternoon. Hope you all had a wonderful weekend. Welcome to this department spotlight hosted by the Social Sciences Academic Resource Center. Today, we will talk about internships and careers in political science. Before we start, I would like to introduce myself. My name is Nayeli Lopez, and I am one of your peer consultants here at SARC. I am currently in 4th year, double majoring in education sciences and social policy and public service. And I would now like to hand it over to my fellow colleague and SARC peer consultant, Elizabeth.
Hi, everyone. My name is Elizabeth Hafen. I am a 4th year double majoring in political science and psychology. So I'm really excited for this SARCcast. It is political science, and that's where I'm at. I am in my element. So I'm really excited for the SARCcast. So if you have any questions about anything, I would love, once we go through the SARCcast, I would love to answer any and all questions.
Yes, if you have any questions, please submit them through the Zoom Q&A feature, which is located at the bottom of your screen. We will be addressing all questions at the end. This event will be recorded. And without further ado, let's get started. So to get us started, what is political science? And political science is a scientific study of politics. It is a social science dealing with the systems of governance and power and the analysis of political activities, political thoughts, political behavior, and associated constitutions and laws.
So there's different subsections in poli-sci. There is American society and politics, there's comparative politics, international relations, public law, and political theory. And these are all within poli-sci. So I'm sure a lot of you guys have like a focus because these are what is at UCI. I'm just curious, I'm gonna pull up a poll.
Elizabeth, the poll is for the other slide. I'm sorry, I got the wrong one, but they could put it in the chat.
Yeah, so in the chat, I'm just curious, like, which one are y'all focusing on? I'm curious as to which one is the most popular. So please just like in the chat, just drop which one are you focusing in. Because me personally, I'm doing international relations. But again, everyone's different. So international relations, political theory, no idea. So hopefully we can narrow that down by the end of today. International relations, American society and politics, and international relations. Great, awesome. So it seems that international relations is very popular. And I have my own theory as to why that is. And I think it's because, you know, we live in a global society now. And I think there's this like push to like be everywhere and be with other countries and be like that really industrialized society. But that's my own personal take on it. But that's really interesting. Moving on.
Now getting into the levels of education with political science. And to get you started, it's your bachelor's, which many of you are doing currently. And this is required for many entry-level positions, followed by the master's degree, which is required if you want a specialization, usually in policy. And then it's the JD, which is required to work in law. And finally, the PhD, which is required to work in academics and hold certain leadership roles.
All right, so there's major career paths in political science. Just to make sure that everyone kind of is aware of this, that you don't have to go into these career paths. These are like the most popular, but I'm just curious as to which ones are y'all interested in going? Like these are like what people talk about poli-sci. They usually talk about these. And so I'm just curious which ones are you considering? Which ones are the most popular? So I'm gonna talk about it, and the poll is open. So I'm gonna talk about it a little bit, and so we can go over it once I finish. So the first one is state and local government. So that would be like within the state of California. So for example, if you want to work for the mayor's office, if you would like to work in Sacramento in the capital, or if you want to work in the governor's office, it would be that type of work, typically in politics. And the kind of the level up from that, I guess, would be federal government, which is much more bigger scale. Typically, a lot of these job openings are in Washington, D.C., since all of those hubs are over there. So it would be, for example, working in Congress, working for a federal position like the FBI, something like that. It would be here. That would be international affairs. So for example, if you want to work as a diplomat or work for the UN, it would be here. Nonprofit, so an NGO, kind of, what's a popular nonprofit? I can think of one right now, but this is also a very popular career path. And then there's for-profit private business. And typically these are like, for example, working in a private law firm if you want to go into the realm of law. That would be something here. So let me see. I'm gonna finish the poll. Hopefully everyone had the chance to respond to it. And it seems international affairs, again, takes the lead. That's very interesting. Really, really interesting. And then in second place is basically tied, nonprofit and for-profit private business, and then state and local, and the least popular, federal government. That's interesting. I guess there's a stigma about working for the feds. So maybe that could be it. Who knows? All right. Moving on.
And now getting into ways to prepare, whether for a career right after graduation or to be a competitive applicant in the PhD program. So the very first one is research in political science. And to get involved in research, the social sciences offers SAEP, which you can also do research through the honors department and through Europe. So there's other pathways for you to be able to do that. You can also intern through the Capital Internship Program, which at UCI, we have the UC-DC program that allows you to intern in DC or in Sacramento. We also have internships at UCI or near UCI. So here at the SARC, we have an internship database where other students have interned. And the social sciences offers Social Science 197 that gives unit credit for interning. And what's really cool about this is that while you're doing your hours, you will also get units. So it'll count as a class, and you could do anywhere from 2 to 4 units, depending on the amount of hours you complete. There's also getting involved through joining a club or an org to gain that leadership experience. So there are several clubs intended for preparation for graduate school. For example, there is ASUCI, CalPERG, Model UN, and many others.
So ways to get hired after graduating. And so this could be if you want to go into the job field right after graduating, but also if you're looking for internships or other positions, these are also great ways to get to know the career path along political science. So first there's LinkedIn. This is like the most commonly used. It's supposed to be like a social media site, but also for hiring. So I always find it really interesting, but it's the most popular employment site, is very widely used. A lot of like recruiters use this, and will post like regular postings through here. Then there's Handshake, and this is what we kind of use at UCI. Um, and a lot of people, recruiters who are looking for recent graduates, will try to recruit through Handshake. And so also, a lot of postings within UCI will post your Handshake. So I think if you want to stay local, stay like within UCI, this is a really interesting, like a really good tool to use if you want to get hired there. Then there's the Anteater Network. And although it's not a typical way to like look for a job, it's more about connecting with alumni. So you would connect with alumni, kind of gain a mentor. They can offer you a place to intern within their own employment site. And so it's not like LinkedIn or Handshake where you just apply and get it over with. It's more about connecting and getting to know people in the field and seeing what they offer and kind of getting hired that way. I really like it because it's a great way to like network and stuff. Then there's USA Jobs. And this is the federal government's official employment site. So if you want to get a federal job, it will be through USA Jobs. I think a lot of international relations jobs are also through here because they have to go through the government. And so if you're interested in that, it's the USA Jobs. Focus to Career is something different. It's a self-assessment tool that allows for career compatibility and lets you know what type of career is out there based on your degree. So what you do is kind of take a quiz. It's a short quiz that doesn't take more than 10 minutes. And then based on that, it'll kind of rank your characteristics and kind of say like, oh, based on your characteristics, these are jobs that would be a good fit and or a good match with your characteristics. And so if you're really outgoing and you really like being out there, maybe a desk job might not be for you. And so like it kind of lets you know like, is this what I really want to do? So it's really interesting in that way. And then there's the Bureau of Labor Statistics. You can browse occupation. It'll let you know their median pay, median education level, job growth rate, and a lot more. And this is very interesting because if you want to do something very niche or very something that's not that common, you can look it up here in the Bureau of Labor Statistics and see if that job market is growing or decreasing, and seeing if by the time you graduate, will it be a good job for you? Like if the salary matches what you want to earn, or if the chances of you getting hired here are high. And so if you want to kind of play around with that, that's also a great place to see like where you can get hired, if your ability there is positive or not. All right, we've come to the end. Is there any questions? You feel free to use the Q&A feature.
Feel free to ask any question. We have Elizabeth, who is actually a major in political science, so she may have that additional experience and knowledge to share with you all.
I'm going to talk about something in an earlier slide. We talked about SAEP. Does anyone know what SAEP is? Anyone in the chat can talk about a little bit of SAEP if you know about it. If you don't, you can just say no. I can talk about SAEP. I can't open the Q&A. Nayela, do you mind reading it?
Yes, it says, what professors do you recommend in political science?
Okay. So let me answer the question about SAEP really quick, and then I'll go back to that. SAEP is a summer program intended to get students involved in research. For those that don't really know where to start or are kind of confused about the process of getting involved in research, SAEP is a all paid for program that houses you and feeds you and gives you all the resources you need to kind of get involved in research, and additionally gets you resources for graduate school. It's something I highly recommend. It's a great program. and gets all paid for. So you don't have to pay anything out of pocket. So that's SAEP. The question about professors, it depends. That's a great question because, you know, some people are looking for different things in professors. It depends on what you want to study. If you want to do international relations, it might not be the same thing as comparative politics. I don't know. I don't think I have a straight answer for you. I think they're all great in their own sense. But great question.
We do have 2 more questions. Actually, a few more. What type of specific jobs would you think that political science majors have an edge for?
It depends. It truly depends. So, for example, I am getting involved in public policy. So that's what I'm kind of getting involved in. And so once I go into the job market, I think I'm going to have an edge for that. But some students are more involved and more interested in getting involved in like nonprofits and being a leader. And so maybe they have an edge for being like a manager in a nonprofit and kind of running those business meetings. Or maybe some student is minoring in economics. And so they might have like an edge in finance and managing for-profit businesses and running like the finances of them. And so it depends on what your own like interest is in, and then you can get an edge for that. If like you can, I don't know who submitted the question, but it depends. If you want to say something more specific, I can kind of give you an answer for that. But it honestly all depends.
Thank you, Elizabeth. We also have, are any of you looking into grad schools? How are you preparing for GRE or LSAT exams? I can kind of give some insight on that. Once again, we do offer support with your graduate school application process here at SARC. And in regards to the GRE, correct me if I'm wrong, Carissa, but in person, we do have like GRE test prep available at the SARC office where students can check it out. I do know also that SOAR has the GAP program, and they have like 20 spots open for students who participate, and they can earn free GRE prep courses. So look into campus resource centers. There's a lot of materials that can help you prepare for these exams. But that's kind of what I have regarding that. I don't know if Elizabeth or Carissa, you have something to add on?
Yeah, I just wanted to share that at SARC, we do offer 15% off Princeton review courses. So if you're intending to take a course, why not get 15% off? I'll go ahead and put that code in the chat. And then the Division of Continuing Education also provides some free workshops as well that you might want to check out. I'll also put that link in the chat as well.
Next, we have how many months in advance should we sign up for internships?
That's a great question. So for example, if you're doing something like UCDC, what they recommend is you start applying around at least like 2 months before. So if you're going to intern, let's say in the winter, you have to start applying in the fall. So like the quarter before, and at least like 2 months. I think that's a great timeline. It's like a typical timeline, 3 to 2 months. I think UCDC will kind of give you like help and something like that. But let's say you don't want to do UCDC, you want to just apply. Just being like attentive of what internships are available, like as they like sent out the application, just apply. But let's say there's no application, you're just I guess reaching out and saying like, hey, this is my resume, I'm interested in applying with you guys. You know, kind of like that. I would say like at least 2 months. I think that's a good timeline. What do you think, Carissa?
Yeah, I think typically for a lot of students, they often start getting into internships around their sophomore year. But I've seen students as I guess, as early as their freshman year. Um, Definitely by your senior year, you should have at least an internship or two under your belt. So I would say sophomore, junior year is a pretty popular time to look into internships. Also, one thing to kind of pay attention to is when the Division of Career Pathways, aka our Career Center on campus, is hosting their internship and career fairs. So they often host the internship fairs at the beginning of the year and then a career fair each quarter as well. So this could be a great time to find internships. Summer internships are also very popular. Social Science 197 is also available during the summer as well. So a great way to kind of get academic credit. Let's say if your internship is not paying you, this is just another way to do that.
Awesome, thank you. We have, is it too late as a junior to look into these programs and internship opportunities?
No, it's never too late. I think a lot of people feel like, oh, I might be graduating next year. I'm a third year, I'm gonna graduate next year. And it's never too late. I think for UCDC, for example, I think for next year, the deadline might be in the next one would be like in the fall or winter quarter. But you would still be able to do that program for next year. It depends sometimes whether a program is a quarter or if it's a year-long commitment. Typically for year-long commitments, it requires you applying a little bit earlier. But it depends on what you want to look into. So for example, SAEP, their application was in January, I think. And so if you're staying maybe a fifth year, that would be a great option. Like applying next year in January and staying a fifth year so you can do that research. But let's say you don't want to do that, you just want to stay a fourth year, you can still do research in the fall through Europe. So it's never too late for anything.
Thank you. We then have, can you get help for grad school applications after graduating?
You want to
I'm thinking that's regarding here at SARC, like if students who graduate already and reach out are still eligible to receive the SARC services. Carissa, do you?
Yes, the answer is yes. You're more than welcome to reach out to us at sarc@uci.edu, even if you've already graduated, and we're happy to help you with graduate school or anything else that might be on your mind.
Thank you. We also have any suggestions for writing resumes. As mentioned before, you can always book a consultation one-on-one with one of the peer consultants here at SARC. And if you have an existing resume that you would like to have reviewed, we are more than happy to do that. As far as suggestions, I feel like it really depends. We already know that there's some certain components that have to be on there. But I encourage you to hopefully book with us and we can take a careful look and be more specific with that. And then we have, how many months in advance should we start applying to studying abroad?
That's a great question. Well, definitely you would have to find out, like, I would say plan it a year in advance. So if you want to study next year, that way you have like housing figured out or something like that. You know, like I'm not going to get housing. I'm going to get housing abroad, and that can take a little bit of time. So for when I went abroad, it took me, I had a plan since the moment I stepped foot at UCI. Like I was like, I want to go abroad. And I'm going to do it my third year. And so that's what I did. I planned it out and I said, my third year, I'm going to go abroad, and I had it planned out for a while. So I say like at least a year. And I think the application for studying abroad might be like 6 months prior to the start date. So even by then, because the Abroad Center sets its own application deadline. But I would say be prepared and it kind of started early as early as you can. definitely.
So thank you. I think that's all questions for now. If we can go to the next slide, please. Awesome. Thank you all for attending. We want to say thank you once again for joining us today. We hope you were able to take something away from today's event. The Social Sciences Academic Resource Center is available to support your professional endeavors. We provide feedback on your resumes and cover letters. We also provide guidance and assistance during your graduate school application process. Schedule a consultation with us today to talk about internships or graduate school. For more information, visit the link in the chat, which I'm about to enter right now. And thank you so much once again. Take care, everyone.
Thank you all.